raised so much money to give Assyrian children books, 150,000 books. That's pretty impressive. Thank you for anything that any part of you played in. Thank you very much. So, prosthetics, has anybody heard the word prosthetics before? Do you have an idea what it is?
Artificial lenses.
Yes, replacement lens. It's kind of a weird word in English or perhaps all other languages, but it's quite a science these days. I don't know if you've read anything about prosthetics, but it has become that we can actually replace almost every body part. And you know about heart transplants. We have replacement, of course, teeth. That's an easy one. But if you have an accident and you can have a whole ear, it's amazing how it looks. You can have transplanted skin to cover the plastic ear, and you don't reject it. It's quite amazing. And so when little Courtney is her name, she's 26 now, so she's not so little. My husband and I really wanted to kind of even her out, because we found out that when she was standing up, she fell over a lot. She was uneven when she was trying to lift herself up because she didn't have another hand. So we said, well, we need to learn more about prosthetics, and I knew nothing. So it felt as if I just went to kindergarten, really, and knew nothing about this subject. And nowadays, it's amazing what's out there. But at that time, there were only hook devices. Have you known anyone who's used a pincer, it's called? Anyone? There is a movie about Captain Hook. It's in that zone of prosthetics when she was little, because now she wears a 5-fingered hand, electronically motivated from the muscle. She can paint fingernails, she wears rings, and she has fingerprints on it. So in her lifetime of 20-something years, we've created, and I've been a part of research groups and medical university, actually in Northwestern University in Chicago, to learn to move those muscles to open and close the hand, so the fingers will move. Pretty neat, huh? Well, something really interesting happened about her brain through all of this, I think. This is a personal research study on my part, because I'm mom. But she had to learn things 2 different ways. One with a 5-fingered hand and one with prosthesis. She's an engineer. She thinks about everything in terms of how steps to take to get somewhere. That's just the way she operates. She's a part of her prosthetic team, and she designs her own prostheses now. She's a chemical engineer, and she's got married 1.5 years ago. So any worries I had, out the window. But when I was younger and I just had her, I cried every day. And this is some of the issue of disability and dealing with what is really the death of a dream. It's shocking. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross came out with 5 stages of grief. And these stages of grief happen with us all. And they happen with people who have disabilities. And this is an understanding person to person. And that's what I'd like to chat about today, because when you met the Saray people, maybe you didn't understand everything, but you know, they have the same feelings as you do about things. And you may not be disabled, but you have had traumatic experiences, even a broken bone, and certainly the loss of a loved one affects you, and it's a big change. The first stage of grief is actually shock. Can you think of anything that's actually shocked you, such as perhaps meeting one of the Saray people today? It can feel quite jolting because they have different disabilities that are different than you. That's a normal reaction. And that's the first reaction when we have a new change. The second is denial. And this is what happened to me. When I had my baby, I liked to sleep a lot. I was sad and I wanted to just deny the whole thing. Well, maybe if I wake up, it'll be all better. And that doesn't happen. We have to deal with things. So after you're shocked, you go through, well, maybe if I wake up tomorrow, it'll go away. Have you ever had that where something happened to you and you say, oh, please. Maybe if I just go to bed or, take a run around the block. Yeah? When did you have that experience? Can you remember?
No, it's a while ago.
Was it? Well, after, okay, you're in denial, you can get really angry. My third child, when he was 6 years old, was blinded in one eye. And he was mad for years because he used to have 2 seeing eyes. And he had to have a lot of surgery and that kind of thing. And he was mad. He came home one day with his best friend and jumped her. He literally jumped her, knocked her down on the ground, pulled her backpack off, and beat her on the head. So here is her best friend coming to the door with her mom, and they were not happy. They were not happy. And he was dealing with being angry. You know how anger is. You can kick the dog. You can slam the doors. You can do all sorts of things, taking it out on other people. What Ryan had to do, that's the youngest, we had to get it out. So we started running around the house. Have you ever done any physical activity when you're really mad? You lose something permanently, like my son. He was also sad for quite a bit of time. Are there any ways to deal with sadness, coping skills for sadness? Like we said before, people want to go to sleep, but that's not getting anything out, is it? It's kind of avoiding the issue.
Ignorance is bliss.
Well, it may be, but ignorance actually in a society keeps things away from conversation. And one of the things in Azerbaijan that I'm working on with other folks at the government level is acceptance of all people, including people with disabilities. If you don't talk about it, you don't learn about disabilities, the ignorance is quite damaging. So it's a good point. It has ramifications over a society, doesn't it? So you've gone through, okay, I went through these things as a mom. I was shocked. I was in denial. Couldn't wait to go to sleep as soon as the baby went to sleep, trying. Now he said, shocked, why me? Why my own child? I was angry, and I did a lot of exercise at that time because I didn't want to take it out on the dog or my husband. Then I went into a movement of sadness. And you can go up and down in grief. I'm sure that people who have lost a person, you are reminded by a person, and then you go and you're sad one day and happy the next. You can kind of go back and forth. And the grief process is like that. But that's normal. That's normal behavior for human beings. And Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross came to a 5th stage, and that's acceptance. And say, okay, well, I can't walk, so now what? Just give up? Throw the baby away because the baby doesn't have a hand? I don't think so. So you say, okay, now what? It's time to learn, converse, talk, get educated, and realize that each one of us, no matter what the package is here, is a soul to soul and a heart to heart. What's your name?
You.